Hello friends, and welcome to the High Flyer School free webinar on exactly what it says there. Maybe we can enlighten you a little bit on how to go from rookie or inexperienced, let's say salesperson or business owner who does a bit of sales, to elite level salesperson. But not only to get there, but to do it in record time. That's what this is about. That's what I'm here to talk to you about, and I'm excited at the possibilities of you taking this on and running with it. But before we start, let's just have a quick bit of housekeeping. So the chat box is open on the right there, as you can see on your screens. Feel free to fire any questions in there, and as I'll be doing the presenting, it'll be the moderator who will answer them. However, if there are any left at the end, I'll certainly endeavour to have a chat with you as well at that point. And so let's get right on with it. This is what we do. High Flyer School, we develop online courses, online sales courses, with the intention of turning rookies into superstars. That's what we do. And so let's get into the presentation and let's see where we are with this. Okay, just bear with me and we're away. Okay, if you are, who is this for? A business owner, entrepreneur, or a salesperson maybe who's ambitious and wants to get there quick, wants to get to the top rapidly, then absolutely 100% this is for you. And I can only tell you that as we go through this presentation, I'll tell you a little bit about myself so you know who I am, what I'm about, and why I'm qualified really to talk to you about this subject. There isn't 1,000 subjects I could talk about that I'm qualified for, but I'm definitely qualified to talk to you about this because I've developed lots and lots and lots, hundreds of people to elite level sales in my 25, 27 year career, whatever it's been. So, my name's Spence Bryant. I'm the founder of High Flyer Sales School, hence you're here. That's what we do, and the important part there is in record time. We've developed a fast track program which not only gets you to the elite level, but it gets you there quick. That's the entire ethos of how we train and everything we do. So who am I? Am I qualified for this? Let's just pop that up a little bit. So I've gone from that to that and on to that. And by the way, we have sold well over 100 million of products, 100 million pounds of products in that period. So I know a little bit about this subject, i.e. training salespeople, coaching salespeople to become excellent and earn themselves a lot of money along the way. That's the one gift I was bestowed upon me, that was bestowed on me, and I'm here because of that, I suppose. That's exactly why I'm here. So let's go. Let's carry on. Okay, so here's the news flash, guys. The old Wolf of Wall Street movie, which fantastic movie, I agree, it's absolutely terrific. But that ethos of selling, the ABC, always be closing, that doesn't work anymore. Any of you who are a little bit more mature, maybe my age, around that age, you might remember a movie called Glengarry Glen Ross, which was the original sales movie about sales. It was terrific. But again, it was all about pressure selling, don't let them off the hook, always be closing. That was the motto of that as well. And that's gone on now for 40 years. But I'm telling you now, things have changed. If you've been using that style and you're in sales or you've been to see clients and you're trying to still use that, it don't work no more. It doesn't work. And because, why? Because this is what it looked like. Maybe not always look this guy, but on the left there, talk. That's what that sales style was developed to be. No consultation with the customer. No questions and answers with the customer. Talk. And the objective to be always closing. You make a point, try and close on that point. How do I know this so well? Well, A, I was trained on it myself. And B, for the first few years of my sales career, this was the only way to do it. So that's how I trained as well. But I soon started to see that customers, even back then, 25 years ago, weren't that keen on being arm wrestled and pressured into placing an order. Why would they be? You know, the world's been changing for a long time, and certainly now things have changed big time. Buyers have evolved. Here's how we used to, let me just move that so you can see that. Remember that? Sell me this pen. Do you know what? There are still people on YouTube now advocating that style of sales training. It's history. It's done. It hasn't worked for well over a decade. It's crazy. If you ever do watch the videos of this is how you learn sales, Sonny. Let me tell you what the guy does on the videos, and it's got millions of views. There's several people doing it, and I've seen millions of views, and I can't believe what I'm looking at. Because the way he trains people to sell this type of thing is, sell me this pen, this is how you do it. You make up a load of lies about this pen. You use them as if they're real, tell them as if they're real, and say you've got to buy this pen because, lie, 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 lie. My God, those days are gone. You cannot get away with that with today's 2021 savvy, more informed customers. They will run a mile from that style and that approach because, well, it's unethical, and mainly because of this. They're smarter. They're more informed. Buyers have evolved, and that's why I've put that at the bottom. If you don't evolve your selling style, you will get left behind, and I can prove it to you. 12 years ago, I had a light bulb moment. I've been in sales for a long time at that point, managing and doing really well, you know. But I did have a light bulb moment when I started to analyze the data a little bit. So I was always obsessed with, let's say, the 2 out of 3 customers when you're talking about what the business I've always been in has been direct sales. Well, not always, but mostly. And direct sales, let me tell you, is the purest form of sales because one day people go out and knock on doors or make telephone calls, cold calling. They make appointments for a salesman to come around and do a free estimate, that type of thing. And of course, the salesman's job to earn his bread and butter is to turn that inquiry, sometimes tentative inquiry, not such a strong lead, into a sale. So if you're selling 1 in 3 of those, you're doing pretty well, by the way. And the elite sell 1 in 2, but we'll come to that a little bit later. So I was obsessed with the 2 out of 3, 2 out of every 3 who didn't buy after having the same presentation, the same salesman. You know, you think, well, what happened? Something must have happened. So I was always obsessed with that, thinking, well, 2 out of 3, let's say we sold 5 million in a year. Well, there was 10 million left on the table that we didn't sell. So that was always my focus. And then I started to remember, so all the results from a sales team or a business or a company, a sales business, are collated. And that data comes from 2 people. It comes from the sales representative who's done his job, and it comes from his sales manager, his next up the chain, if you like. Now, in my long career, I've done both those jobs. I've done every job, all the way up to sales director, all the way down to door-to-door canvasser and salesman. So I've been there and I've done them all. And if I know one thing about those roles, sales is a very competitive industry. There's always somebody after your seat at the top of the table, top of the food chain when it comes to sales. Salespeople is the person who gets the biggest amount of leads and the best leads. And likewise, sales management. Sales management, there is always somebody, the new hot shot in town, who's after your job, you know. So they have to. Self-preservation comes into it. And I've said this where it says there. I mean, I've been on the end of that, and I've also been the person saying that we need business in this week. It's the last week of the month. We have targets to hit. You have targets to hit. Feed the closers. Obviously, the people who are in form and all that. So that puts pressure. And it puts pressure on individuals and salespeople and sales managers. You know, lead flow, as it says, lead flow is critical to your income. So I thought, well, with all that going on and all that self-preservation going on, do we really know that those answers that were being given as to why the buyer didn't buy are accurate? Or may there be a little bit of self-preservation going on? So here was my light bulb thought. Why don't we just miss out those people, go direct to the customers, and not do the usual customer care call where in a sales business you ring up and usually end up dropping the price to try and get the deal in to drag some numbers in, which is what happens to get volume up. What if we just asked them one simple question? You know, what if we said, after a little bit of introduction, hello Mr. and Mrs. Jones, can I just ask you one question? You know, straight talking person as you are, what stopped you buying from us? And the answers surprised us, let me tell you. They did. Again, don't take my word for this. That's how many people we called over those 2 years. We called over 28 or 29,000 unsold leads. Think about that. That's a lot of calls. It's a lot of data, which we thought we knew via the salespeople. But as I said, the answers surprised us. Take a look at some of these. Now, when you ask anyone who didn't get a sale, Guess what the number one answer is? It was too expensive. It was too expensive, okay? So here's the facts, pure data. Only 8% of those 29,000 said the price was too high. Remember what we're asking them, why didn't you place an order with us? Only 8% said the price was too high. Look at the next two. 2% didn't like the company and 1% only didn't like the product. That's shocking, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to move that because I don't want you to think that's me. That's not me, okay? Just so we're clear. But they liked the product, they liked the company, and they thought the price was all right. But they didn't buy. What's going on here? Something's going on, isn't it? Hang on, let me go back to my presentation. Excuse me a minute. Let's doing this live. Okay, so exactly what is going on? And let's see if we can find out, shall we? So number 2 light bulb moment was analysing that data. Analysing those answers. And those answers, there was a pattern developing. That's what we've been noticing. So there was a common theme, more likely, more accurate actually, with their reasons for not buying off us. This is what we started to notice. And here are the most 3 common answers. Okay, so we just want to think about it. Everyone who's ever been on a sales lead will recognise that as the most common one. Oh, we just want time to think about it. We'll definitely call you back tomorrow. We'll definitely call you back. Do they? You know the answer to that. Do they? Hell, do you not? Okay, next one. Seconds. These are in order, by the way. 1, 2, and 3 are most popular answers from 28,000 unsold leads. Yeah, it was good, but we thought it was best to get another quote just to compare. Number 3, we want to chat over our finances to see if we can afford it. Okay, well that's the world's shortest conversation right there, by the way, because this is what that looks like. Darling, can we afford it? No, darling. Or the other side of the coin. Darling, do you think we can afford it? Yes, I think we can. That's the conversation. Why would you not get a deal for that? And why would you leave the property and let them have an overnight or a week to think about that particular question? It's 5 seconds. That's it. This is the reality of sales. Salespeople, when they're out of form particularly, will walk out and take that as a condition. Now, these are objections. They're timescale related. They are not conditions. A condition is something entirely different. A condition is you're halfway through the presentation with a customer and then the customer pipes up, oh, by the way, I think my father should probably be here in attendance because he's the owner of this house. That's a condition. That's going to make you stop, put the handbrake on. You can't move forward with your presentation because you're not sat with a decision maker. That's a condition. Have another look at those 3 most popular reasons. Are any of them conditions that would stop you from getting a sale? I'll let you read back over them for a second. We all know the answer, don't we? Of course they're not. So, we also asked them, what could we have done better? And I bet some of you would already have known what was coming here. I can see in the comments, just looking at the chat to the corner of my eye. We like to buy, but we do not like being sold to. So the theme there, isn't there? The objections are taken as real and as conditions that we can't sell. Well, we know that's not accurate. And we don't like being sold to. So their perception, these customers' perception, was that they were being strong-armed, being sold to, which we already knew they didn't like. They want to buy, but they don't want to be sold to. You know, this is becoming, obvious what's wrong here. Let me move that 1 second. So, all of these objections could have been handled with a different style of selling and by consultative questioning. What do I mean by that? Consultative questioning means a consultation. In other words, there's 2 people. It's a 2-way conversation. You, the salesperson, and them, the customer. It's a joint presentation. They are contributing to what's happening and they're giving you input as you go along. Well, guess what? That's valuable data. And this is why this new style of selling had to be developed. Because that old way, hang on, let me get back to the technicalities again, stopped working a long time ago. So, this is what we developed, the empathy-based style of selling. You ask relevant questions and you listen to the answers. Not only do you listen, you follow up with another question, delving a little bit deeper into what their problem is. How could our product or our service solve that problem? Is there a way through here that's going to help your customer? And let them see this. Because when you ask a question and you respond to that question, and then they come back with another one, you give them another answer, and then you ask for it. Does that seem to sort of? Do you think that might be a good fit for you? You are already closing, if you like, but you're not asking for an order. You are getting agreement. It's consultative. There's an empathetic relationship going on. Why this works so well, and how this style gets you to elite level and elite wages and elite commissions, elite bonuses and elite sales if you're in business. This style gets you there. The customer feels like they are buying. At the end of it, you lead them to an obvious, logical close. Now, that close may well be, I've enjoyed our time together, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, but I'm starting to realise now that maybe we are not a good fit for your problem. I don't think we're the solution for it, so if it's okay, I think it's a no from us, from you as a customer. Now, the other side of that coin is the customer's feeling a little bit uncomfortable and they want to say it. So they might say, listen, I've gone through all this, but I've got to be straight talking with you. I don't think this is for us. You shake hands, you walk away, and maybe you even suggest an alternative. This is today's style of selling, consultative. You go together on a journey, you get to the end, and the end becomes logical. And so there's no arm twisting here. There's no battle of wills. There's no tug of war to get who's going to get it. Am I going to get it, or are they going to say no? It's consultative. It's beautiful, and it works incredibly well, as I will show to you a bit later. Okay, let's move on. So I'll move this for you. In fact, I will make it smaller. Here we go. I'm getting used to this technology now. Okay, so the upgraded empathy-based selling style against the old style of ABC, always be closing. Okay, so from a salesperson's point of view, instead of dreading objections coming up, you actually are so polished and your responses and objection handling skills are so great that you want the objections to come out. I'll say that again. You want to hear the customer come up with their objections, because your strategy and your handling of them is so refined, so fluent, and so consultative that the customer can't help but agree and move themselves along towards the end of this sale. It's beautiful. So instead of treating a sale as a contest, or as I said, a tug of war between you and the client, guess what? It just comes to a natural close and a natural end, and it's logical. It's logical for them to go ahead with you. 1 times out of 2, 50% of the time at the elite level. Because, hey, I've based this on cold leads. We're not talking about going back to your existing customers here and selling them a bit more. You have a 100% rate at that, 100% closing rate. I'm talking about the hardest of leads. The elite level salespeople, that I have got hundreds of people to that level, sell cold leads at 1 in 2. Think about that for a moment. When you're hot and you're in that run of form, you sell 10 in a row. When you're cold, you don't sell any for 10, but then you sell the next 5. That's how it works. That's what elite level sales looks like. And it's incredibly highly paid, by the way, because there aren't many people in that elite level, and so they're paid the elite pay. That's how it works. Here's what happened when the businesses I were working for at that time, one of them I was running, we changed from the old style of sales process of always be closing to the more empathetic style. Here's what we saw after 24 months. Have a look at those numbers. 30% conversion rate improvement. That doesn't sound like a big number, but do the math. Think about that for a moment. You sell 5 million a year. Let's say you had a £3,000 order value. Get your calculator out and work that out. 30%. Now, bear in mind, if you are a business owner or entrepreneur, that's from the same leads. In other words, the same marketing spend. We're not pulling a rabbit out of a magic hat here and saying, oh, you can increase your conversion rates by getting better leads. No, these are the same leads. This is the results on exactly the same lead sources. Proactive leads, not easy leads. Well, the percentage were easy leads, 15%, 85% proactive cold call leads. Look at the next one. Now that seems strange, doesn't it? So your sales conversion rates improved 30%, which is incredible over 2 years, by the way. Gradually like that. There was an immediate uptick, but that's huge. But look at the next one, 60% increase in volume. How can that happen? Well, again, I'll tell you the answer. The answer is, when you sell in an empathetic, consultative way, which leads to the logical close at the end, excuse me, what happens is the customer is so relaxed and so comfortable and trusting in you and the process, they spend more. Instead of spending 3,000, they'll go for the upgraded version, spend 4.5. And that's why your volume goes up in conjunction as well as your sales conversion rate based on the same amount of leads. Incredible. But look at the last box. When you sell in a consultative way, in other words, they decide to buy through logic rather than you make them sell or force them to sell, your cancellations almost disappear. Think about that in reality. Let's say you get, say an average salesperson in the industry gets 10 cancellations a year, let's say less than one a month if they're a good salesman. But imagine only getting one. So imagine going, there's 9 free sales there already that you keep. So there's not a lot of downside in this. The empathy style of sales is incredible. This one always makes me chuckle when I show people this. If you're in sales, this will resonate with you. So salespeople start earning more. Managers, everyone up the chain starts earning more. But look at that on the right. Salespeople start acting happy around the sales office. Hell, that's not normal. That's not normal. Anyone who's been involved in a sales team office environment, sales office environment knows salespeople love to have a whinge. They love to have a moan. There's always something to moan about. But they started being happy because results were going up. And it was very difficult to be negative around when everybody's doing well and all the arrows and all the key indicators are going like that. Very difficult not to be dragged along with the momentum. But it's a strange thing to see previously grumpy people all of a sudden smiling and laughing and joking. Slightly weird, but still a better place to be. Okay, so from the business owner point of view, box 3 down the bottom there, profits rise steeply, but you haven't spent any more money on producing those leads for those sales and that extra volume. It's incredible. Here's the other sort of invisible bonus that you don't think about. Customer feedback went from good. The companies I was working for, running the sales operations for at that time, had good feedback, but that went to great. What happens when you get great feedback? You get more referrals. What are referrals? Commonly known in the sales industry as penalty kicks. If a happy customer that you did business for refers a friend or family member or colleague to you, they've also told them the price 9 times out of 10. So they're penalty kicks. They're free business. So it's difficult to see the after effects being anything but a big smiley face, isn't it? Okay, so me. So I've told you about my background. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest here. So in the early days of this course, we want reviews for this course because this is now right when we are launching. So here's a few about me. If you want to see some more, I'm not going to read them to you. I know you're intelligent individuals. You can read. There's even more on the High Flyer website, which you'll have a link to at the end of this webinar. Okay, so that's what I do. I transform people's sales ability, which transfers also quite often into their private lives because, we're always selling. Even getting someone to go out on a date with you is a sales environment, isn't it? It's persuasion. How is it any different? Okay, you may not have to close them, but you're going to have to arrange a date and a time. So this translates right the way across, but this is not a course on dating. Let that go. Let that thought go. Okay, so in September 2021, we have launched the new signature online course, and it's accepting its first applicants. So there is something we need as we are in the nucleus early days here, and we're willing to pay you for it. That's right. That's strange, isn't it? So here's the course. Here's some of the course, by the way. That's the graphic that goes with it. It covers everything. I'm going to show you shortly everything it does cover. But just going back to what I was just talking about, the early adopters, in other words, the early students who buy this course, we want from you feedback. We want feedback on the course because we want to then upgrade it even more. The course is absolutely fantastic, by the way, because it's the last 25 plus years of everything I've ever done in my career of taking people on the journey from literally not very much, hardly any money to even fuel their cars when they started in sales, to adapting to this new style of selling, going out, transforming your lives and becoming wealthy, for want of a better word. So we need testimonials for this site. Okay, that's what we want. So right now, we're going to switch now over to our website. We'll still continue continue with the webinar, and I can see some fantastic comments coming out there, which has got me excited. Wow, and our attending numbers have gone up, which is the first time that's ever happened. Okay, so I must be doing something right, even with my West Country accent. So we're going to go to our website now. So I want to show you what you learn from taking this training course. Okay, so bear with me. We're going to now go over to our website. Okay, so what will you learn from taking this training course? Well, let me go over it with you now. Here's what you will learn. First and foremost, you will learn to become an elite level salesperson in record time by learning and becoming fluent in this method of sales. Does it work? Well, it's worked for £100 million worth of, it's way more than that, but that was a nice round number. Because I'm out of those businesses now, I don't know that number, but the people I've trained over the last 25 years are still out selling loads. It could be 200 million, who knows? But the point is, it works. So what will you learn? Well, there are masterclasses on every element of this new style of selling, which is, I say new, it's not, it's been evolving for 25 years. Are you aware that the latest research on buyers, customers in general, people's attention spans and how long before they make their first impression of you? Do you know what they are? I'll tell you. So people's maximum attention span now is only held for 9 seconds. That's all you have before they start to drift away. That's what this mobile phones and that do for us nowadays. You have to get someone to grab their attention to keep them even 3/4 attentive to what you're saying. So the second one is people will make firm conclusions and perceptions about you within 15 minutes of meeting you. And that's not just like a first impression, that's firm assumptions about you. So it's critical in today's sales world, in this limited amount of time, we get off to a great start. So one of the things we teach you is how to make a killer first impression. And that sounds easy. There's a lot of psychology goes into that, but the masterclass on that is terrific. And everyone that I've ever gone through with it has noticed incredible differences. But that's not just going to get you a sale, is it? That's just going to get you off to a good start. So how about if you had the exact adapted words and phrases that sold over £100 million? And when I say adapted, I mean evolved. So they worked at the beginning, but this course has been developed over the last 12 years. Since we took those 28,000 calls and we started to put that data down, really look at it and adapt the course over those last 12 years. And now the power words and phrases used in this training course, which you can have the whole, I think there's 50 off the top of my head, work. They really, really work. And they increase the perceived value of your product or service. So it makes, if you're an expensive product, and that's what you want to be at the top end, you want to be high ticket, it makes it easier to justify and it's perceived higher. So guess what else? It makes it easier to sell. Sales is persuasion, isn't it? Taking customers on a journey. Well, this is exactly what this training does. Learn other things. Learn this simple but incredibly effective technique for handling all sales objections easily. And as I've mentioned previously, so much so, you're so fluent and so word perfect with this and so relaxed with it, this style of handling it, that you want to hear these objections. Honestly, this is the weirdest thing. Most salespeople are terrified of objections. And as we saw in the previous slides, they can quite often get into a rut and they start using those objections as conditions as to why they didn't get the sale. Untrue. It's a habit. Our neural pathways develop through habits. And that, unfortunately, is a downside of that. As is imposter syndrome, which we have another module on in the course, how to avoid it, what it is, what it's all about, and how to just recognize it and move on, because everybody suffers from it. But imagine being able to handle every sales objection. Handle it cleanly, confidently, fluently. It's a beautiful thing, and that is a long session in the course, but it's worth its weight in gold. My personal opinion, that's 10 grand's worth of training there in that one lesson. I'm not telling you the course is 10 grand because it isn't, but that is worth that. Think about it. If that got you one deal a week over 50 weeks of the year, what would that be worth to you? I'll let you do the maths on it. Next one, master the art of consultative questioning. to always have your customers feel like they are buying from you, not you selling to them. Sounds simple. Huge talent. You have to be great at consultative questioning. That's all in this course. Find out how one sentence and gesture that I was taught by an old salesperson donkeys years ago, but I was so struck by it, I never forgot it. I immediately adopted that tactic, and my God, does it work. It will reduce your, I've put on there, reduce your cancellations by half. It's not. It's more like 80 to 90%, because it's very difficult for a customer to agree with you at this point and then end up cancelling. It doesn't happen. The only time they cancel after going through this consolidation method is some tragedy or something happens, or something like some disaster happens in their lives, and that's life, that's going to happen. But I'm telling you now, it will reduce your cancellations massively. One simple trick. And what about if you could leave your customers so impressed with your selling style that they then became your ambassador and referred people to you? And as I said, what are referrals? Well, they're penalty kicks. Penalty kicks with a big pot of cash at the end of it. That's what they are. Okay, so what if you could take all of these elite selling skills, right, and all of that knowledge into your own businesses or sales careers? How much would that make to you? How much money would that make you per annum, per year? It's a lot, isn't it? An average salesperson, let's say they earn, in UK terms, let's say average salesperson 40 to 50,000 a year. Okay? You move to the elite level, you're doubling that. So there's 50 grand right there. 40 to 50 grand right there. That's the difference. This way of selling, this is how proven it is. And again, don't take my word for it. There's £100 million in the bank of business owners that I've worked with that have had that, because this works incredibly. And so that's why I'm doing this. If you want to know why I'm doing this, check out the next page here. The next page will show you why I'm doing it. The next page on the website is my message to people about why I am doing this course. I'm doing this course because, as it says on the last part here, that I'm passionate. This course is developed to help business owners and entrepreneurs and passionate salespeople who want to advance their careers, right, to thrive. That's what it's all about for me. So let's get to the punchline here. I told you there was something we wanted from you. We want agreement for feedback and testimonials from the early adopters of this course. That is right now as we speak. That is still in place. Okay? I checked before starting this webinar. If you want the 50% off, it's not $2,000 for the course. You pay half. $997, that's it. You need to get in quick. This is a time limited offer, and this webinar, I'm having it up, this offer, for 1 hour from the offer hitting you now. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean to say this is not high pressure sales or anything like that. Don't think that for 1 second. I'm not saying that won't be available tomorrow. What I'm saying is I don't know. I can't guarantee. It's a limited offer for the early adopters. We're planning to run this for probably 4 to 6 weeks, but I don't know how the numbers are. I know it's still available right at this moment. If you click the link, you can get this course, the full access to all of these skills trainings for yourself to change your life. It'll certainly change your lifestyle, because it will put a massive more amount of money in your bank. And wow, I can see orders coming in now. I've got the other laptop behind me here with the screen telling me, no, thank you. Thanks for putting that faith in us. We will not let you down. There is one extra little bonus at the end of this course, which I haven't really publicized too much, and that is a link. A link, my God, I can see people now, thank you. Sorry, I'm reading the messages as I'm doing this now, and I can see them coming. I can see Paula, our moderator, answering a lot of your queries, but I can also see the orders being recorded. So thank you for putting your faith in us. You will not regret this. There is a 7-day money-back guarantee, but if you're that sort of person, you think it's not for you, don't buy it. There's a thing I need to say right now. If you're looking for a shortcut, a magic pill to take, or a vaccine in today's world, that tomorrow will turn you into super salesman after literally just reading stuff, don't buy this course. It's not for you. Don't buy this course. If you are a salesperson who is looking for some new style of pressure selling, don't buy this course. You'll be disappointed, and it's not for you. It's not that sort of course. This is something you can take, you can devour. Most of the course is video based as well, so you can take your time going through it, but you have to then do the homework, do the role plays yourself, practice. My God, thank you for these. Thank you for the trust, because I can see these orders flying in now, and it's making me happy to think about you guys taking this course, going through it. I sidetracked slightly there, but the bit I was just going to say to you is that at the end of the course, once you finish and you graduate, you get your certificate of completion, there is one more thing. You have a window to me direct. If there's any element of the course you're struggling with and you can't quite get right, you can't perfect, I want you to, there's a window there for you to fire me a video, an audio, or even questions, however you want to put it, or even verbally, whatever you want to do. Get the questions over to me. I will personally come back to you with tips and advice. And if you want to send me a video or an audio, I'll critique it for you as well. No charge, straight back to you. That's part of this tiny $997. Listen, if anyone's watching this in England, sorry, I can see you are. The people in England, that's not £997. That's dollars. It's way less than that. The dollar's weak and the pound's strong. So in England, you're getting the bargain of the century. This normal selling price of $1999, that is cheap. I'm telling you now, and we will revert back to that as soon as we have filled our allocation of people who are going to give us the feedback and agree to the testimonials and feedback to help us improve it further. Okay, I've talked enough. I'm incredibly grateful to you guys for placing orders with us, but you will not regret it, because I've seen it so many times where I've taken people off the street who had no sales ability, ended up running companies or running their own businesses. This works. I'm going to leave that with you. The link is here. You have it. If you want that 50% off, my only advice to you is in the next hour, it's guaranteed. Well, less than an hour now, as I can see. It's guaranteed. After that, we may well have filled it up, because I'm guessing by the time the next webinar runs, it's going to have the same uptake level. It's not going to be long. We're going to be there. So grab your bonus if you want it now. If you don't, if it's not for you, thanks for attending anyway. Hopefully I've shed a bit of light on why you need to start thinking about a different way of selling. If you're using that old style, please stop. You're banging your head against a brick wall. And that's not me saying it. It's 28,000 people who didn't buy. Okay, thanks for attending, and I'll see you on the next web.